Hey Talking fam, and welcome to another Talking Sports video. And today we're looking at the LIV Golf Mayakoba event preview. So this is the first event of the LIV Golf 2023 season. This is a huge season for LIV Golf, biggest one yet. Last year they had 7 tournaments. There's way more than that this year. Let's take a look at the course of what they're playing at today. So the course they're playing at is the El Chameleon course, which sits on the Riviera Maya, just down the coast from the honeymoon hotbed Cancun. And Mayakoba and LIV Golf promises to be a match made in heaven. Now, the course is designed by LIV Golf Commissioner and CEO Greg Norman, which fuses challenging holes with glorious scenery and a breathtaking beachside setting. It is a perfect venue for the great golfing action. So, take a look at each hole, their par, and their yards length. So, hole number 1 is a par 4 for a 438 yards total. Second hole is a par 4, 428 yards. Hole number 3 is a par 4, 389 yards. Now, this is a pretty short par 4. Fourth hole is a par 3, 116 yards. So this is not a very long hole. Number 5, you have a par 5, 554 yards. Hole number 6 is a par 4 at 416 yards. Hole number 7, par 5, 571 yards. Number 8 is a par 3 at 151 yards. Ninth hole is a par 4 at 462. The 10th hole is a 200-yard par 3. The 11th hole is a 360-yard par 4. Hole number 12 is a par 4, 479 yards. Hole number 13 is a par 5 at 532 yards. At number 14, you have 452-yard par 4. Number 15 is a 155-yard par 3. Number 16 is a 515-yard par 4. Hole number 17 is a par 4 at 386 yards. And then finally at number 18 is a par 4 at 458. So to finish off, you have 3 par 4s. 15th hole is a par 3 to finish out the day. Well, if they do start in the first hole. So, yeah, take a look at the preview as well. So let's take a look. The inaugural saw 7 54-hole tournaments. Now we are looking at a much longer, double the number of competitions. So 14 competitions. Now the first of those starts this weekend in Mayakoba. A $25 million prize pool is on the line this weekend. $5 million of that will be for the team competition, while $20 million is for the individual competition. Now, the latest 2023 LIV Golf odds list, defending champion Dustin Johnson is a 17-2 co-favorite alongside Joaquin Niemann. Now, Cameron Smith follows at 10-1, while Abraham Andrew also has 10-1 odds. Now, before you lock in your picks, by the way, just take a look at the Golf Insider Best Bets and Predictions by Patrick McDonald. So after spending time at Fansided and NBC Sports, he joined CBS Sports as a golf writer in the spring of 2022. He is covering the sport from a broader perspective, so he knows a lot of golf. So let's take a look. He takes a measured approach and was at nearly 75 units in 2022 after hitting Smith at the Tournament of Champions last year. Alright, so let's take a look here. McDonald now has the sights on the Mayakoba field. So his top picks. Now, he is high on Richard Bland, who is a 60-1 long shot in Mayakoba this weekend. He became the oldest first-time winner on the European Tour in 2021 when he claimed the British Masters at 48 years old. Now, he has not slowed down since then. He has had a top 10 finish at a WGC event last year and has 3 top 10s over his last 5 appearances overall. Now, he was ranked in the top 50th in the world as recently as May 2022. He already has 2 top 10s already this year, so he's a name to consider when making your bets. Alright, so next up we have the picks and the sleepers. Alright, so the odds in the field. You have Dustin Johnson, Joaquin Neiman, Cameron Smith, Abraham Ancer, Paul Casey, Taylor Gooch, Sergio Garcia, Mito Pereira, Patrick Reed, Thomas Peters, Matthew Wolff, Brooks Koepka, Anirban Lahiri, Carlos Ortiz, Harold Varner III, Brendan Grace, Dean Burmester, Luis Usuven, Henrik Stenson, Charles Howell, Sebastian Munoz, Brendan Steele, Bernd Wiesberger, Bryson DeChambeau, Jason Kokrak, Mark Leishman, Bubba Watson, Danny Lee, Kevin Na, Richard Bland, Ian Poulter, Peter Uihlein, Eugenio Laura Chikara, Charles Schwartzel, Lee Westwood, Matt Jones, Sam Horsfield, Pat Perez, Remy McDowell, Cameron Trindali, Scott Vincent, Martin Keimer, Phil Mickelson, James Piot, Siwon Kim, David Puig, Chase Koepka, and Jediah Morgan. They are all playing in this week's tournament. Now, they will be playing in every tournament this year. 48 players, 12 teams. Now, I'll be taking a look at the teams here in a second. So, this field is pretty stacked. You have a really good field, and this week should be interesting in Mexico. There have been some changes to the team since last year, if you haven't been paying attention to LIV Golf. Now, they all changed their colors and all of that, so it's a lot different than last year. But let's go and see the roster changes here. And let's take a look at the captains begin with in the team name. So, the captain of the Four Aces Golf Club, you have Dustin Johnson, who has stayed. He is the Four Aces captain. Now, you have the Cleats, captained by Martin Keimer, but he will be out for the season due to an injury. He'll be a co-captain there. So, next up, you have the Crushers Golf Club. They stayed the same as well. Now, they are captained by Bryson DeChambeau. You have the Fireballs Golf Club, still captained by Sergio Garcia. The High Flyers, also by Phil Mickelson. Ironheads are captained by Kevin Na. The Majestics are captained by Ian Poulter. Now, they changed their colors a little bit as well. Now, this is the first team name change. So, you have the Niblets, who changed their name to the Rangecoats. They are captained by Bubba Watson. Last year, they were captained by, I think it was Harold Varner III, was the co-captain. So, yeah, you have that. Good job there. All right, now next up, another change. You had Punch GC change their name to Ripper GC. This is an all-Australian team led by Cameron Smith. Next up, you have the Smash Golf Club. They are head by Brooks Koepka. Stinger Golf Club, still led by Luis Usuven. And Torque, all still captained by Joaquin Neiman. So that is all of the captains and all of the teams heading into this week. Now let's go ahead and just take a look at the rosters. Alright, so starting off again, we have the Four Aces. So the rosters are Dustin Johnson, Pat Perez, and Patrick Reed. Those are the three returning players to the team. Now, the only other player that did not stay was Taylor Gooch. He is replaced by Peter Uihlein. He played, I think it was on the Cleats last year. I'm pretty sure it was the Cleats. So yeah, moving on to the Cleats. Now they are captained, of course, by Richard Bland this year. They are also captained by Martin Keimer, but he is injured for the year. So it will be Richard Bland, Reem McDowell, and Bernd Wiesberger. Bernd Wiesberger was on the High Flyers last year. He is now on the Cleats. Now, they don't have the updated rosters here on LIV. They don't have the player who is filling in for Keimer. But, yeah, so that is kind of gives you the feeling of how their team's going to be this year already. All right, next up you have the Crushers. They are captained by Bryson DeChambeau. They are also on the roster is Paul Casey, Enerban Lahiri, and Charles Howe III. Now, I think most of those are returning. I think all of those are returning on the year as well. So, moving on, we have the Fireballs. They are captained by Sergio Garcia, one of the best players in this league. Now, also on the team, this team did not change. You have Abraham Anser, Eugenio Chikara, and Carlos Ortiz. Those are the 3 remaining players. Also, Sergio Garcia, captain. All right, next up, you have the High Flyers. You had a big change on this list. You have James Pyatt, who was on the Niblets, I'm pretty sure. He's now on the High Flyers. Brendan Steele comes in from the PGA Tour. This is his first year in LIV. He was coming into a second season in the PGA. He was in the middle of it, but he decided to pack up everything and head to LIV Golf. Also, Cameron Tringali also returns to the team. Next up, you have the Ironheads. They are captained by Kevin Na. You also have Scott Vincent, Siwon Kim, and Danny Lee coming on to that team. So, looks like it might be an okay team this year. Then moving on, you have the All-European Majestics Golf Club. You have Lee Westwood, Sam Horsfield, Ian Poulter, and Henrik Stenson. I think all of those are remaining from last year. Moving on, we have the Rangecoats Golf Club. They are captained by Bubba Watson, who has not seen any LIV Golf action since, even though he did join last year, he was nursing a shoulder injury, and he was a sideline reporter. He was a captain as well, so he will be playing this year. So good job, and looking forward to seeing Bubba Watson and the rest of their team. So Taylor Gooch comes over from the 4Acers over to the Rangecoats. You also have Harold Varner, who returns. They were the Niblets, and they have Thomas Peters coming in from the PGA Tour as well. Moving on, you have the Ripper Golf Club, the all-Australian team. You have Matt Jones, Jediah Morgan, Mark Leishman. They are all returning. Jediah Morgan was on the Punch Golf Club last year, but he did leave for a amount of time. I think he went to Torque towards the end of the season, but he is back in his rightful home. And, of course, they are captained by Cameron Smith. Moving on, we have the Smash Golf Club. They are headed by the one of the reigning winners of the solo tournaments, Brooks Koepka. You have Chase Koepka, his brother, Jason Kokrak, and Matthew Wolff. Matthew Wolff comes over from the High Flyers. He was the only player to hit a hole-in-one last season as well. Moving on to the Stinger Golf Club. These are the all South African team. You have Dean Burmester, Brandon Grace, who did suffer that abdomen injury in Bangkok last year. You also have Louis Oosthuizen, the captain of the team, and Charles Schwartz, who they all return to the team. Moving on, the last team roster, you have Torque Golf Club. The remaining players, I think you have some guys who are just coming over. They are not new to the league. The 2 guys who were on the league last year on this team, Joaquin Neiman and David Puig. They are both on the team. They're both in their last season. Now, the new players, you have Mito Pereira and Sebastian Munoz as well. That is the roster of the Torque Golf Club. So, yeah, well, it's a good field, and I can't wait to see them play this season. So, this has been the Mayakoba preview for this weekend's tournament. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate it. And see you guys in the next one. Peace.